everybody. Welcome back to the Routine Podcast.
Gymnastics Conversations.
I'm Chelsea.
I'm Chelsea's mom, Diana.
And we're back for episode 72.
It's early in the morning for Chelsea.
I just woke up.
Chelsea just woke up. We're in a hotel room in Florida. I've been awake for several hours, so I might sound a little more chipper than Chelsea.
I feel like you normally do, so
Well, that's
nothing
true,
new.
But if it was like 1 o'clock...
I'd be ready. But I'm still ready.
You're also still recovering from last night.
I know. It was a good meet.
It was amazing. I know we say that word a lot on this show, but this one really was amazing.
But I asked you last night, did you like this meet or last year's meet, Oklahoma versus UCLA more? And you said UCLA versus Oklahoma.
I did, only because I love watching Oklahoma.
That's true.
So I think it could be Oklahoma against anybody, to be honest with you. Actually, it could just be Oklahoma doing practice stuff.
I can agree with you. I think the Oklahoma meet was more fun to watch too, just because it was more competitive. Like up until the third rotation, last night's meet was like
it
so
felt like nationals.
It did.
Right, where we're watching the scores and it's 99.02 to 99.05 or something like that. And I think what also made it feel like that, not just were the scores and how close it was, but the level of gymnastics we were seeing very early in the season, and they're competing at this high level.
I think we should talk about last week's episode before we dive into Florida a little bit.
So we're going to do this whole suspense thing for people.
Well, I just think we got a lot of great comments about Kathy's interview.
Oh, that's true.
That I think we should mention on today's episode.
Yeah, we can't let Kathy go yet. Although, we saw Kathy last night.
She looked great.
She looked great. She had on some black boots that came up past her knee, this kind of maroon dress.
Wow. Mom is just like apparently really into fashion now.
Yeah, because Jenny Rowland last night.
Yeah, she looked really good too. But our first comment was from @Gymnalysis, and they said it was very interesting to hear that Kathy Johnson-Clark was beating the boys in her elementary school at sprinting, even though she was the size of a pixie. That was a really wide-ranging and great interview on the Routine Podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That was fun. It was very, very easy to talk to Kathy.
Yeah.
It was not an interview.
No, it was really a conversation.
Yeah, it really was. We also got a tweet from Just Some Gym Fan who says, didn't think it was possible to love her anymore, but here we are, one of my favorite episodes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening. And then we also got a voicemail.
Oh, we got a voicemail. We got a voicemail. We still need some music or something to ring in the voicemail.
To make it just that much more exciting. But this voicemail is from Kristen.
Hi, my name's Kristen. Fell in love with college gymnastics about 40 years ago when I went to rec hall at Penn State because a close family member was judging, and fell in love with Penn State, fell in love with college gymnastics. Shoot, I'll just tell you, my mom's a judge. Brevet. She did retire from college. It was just too much travel. I just absolutely loved the podcast. Kathy Johnson is one of my favorite gymnasts of all time. I really appreciated her comments and your questions and feedback and back and forth about everything.
Kristen, thank you so much for the voicemail.
And thanks for being our first voicemail of season 3.
And our only voicemail.
Well,
oh, what? What?
I woke up this morning.
No.
And I got a notification.
You didn't tell me this.
I haven't even listened to it yet.
Ooh.
So we get to listen to it together.
For the first time.
Yeah.
That begging and pleading has worked.
Hi guys, this is Lauren. I just listened to your episode with Kathy Johnson-Clark and it was incredible. I wanted to thank you by leaving you a voicemail and letting you know how awesome you guys are. I love listening to the mother-daughter dynamic. It's hilarious and adorable. We love what you do, and just this podcast with Kathy Johnson was amazing. I had to stop what I was doing when I saw it pop up and just listen to it because she is so insightful, so smart, so thoughtful, so positive, and gymnastics is just so lucky to have her. I feel like I need to know more about this pole vaulting situation. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Lauren. I think I'm probably the hilarious one and you're probably the adorable one.
You don't think I'm funny?
Okay, maybe I'm the adorable one and you're the hilarious one.
I think I'm both.
Oh, well, there you go. So I'm neither then.
You're just here. No, I'm just kidding.
But thank you.
I think you're right. I think people think you're funny.
Yeah, not adorable. And I'm okay with that. Maybe I'm hilarious on all fronts, but it's all good. But the comments about Kathy, it was one of my favorite interviews.
We just have to give Mom kudos for that because,
Aww.
no, I feel like...
See, that's when you're adorable, see?
I feel like you were able to get Kathy to a level that people weren't expecting because usually she's very like in gymnastics mode, but we were able to see a different side of her.
And again, it just started before we even pushed record.
I know.
When we got on the line with her, we automatically started talking about our kids.
Yeah.
And I think it just put her in a different place immediately.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Mm-hmm. And again, when we saw her at the meet last night, it's like, hi, Kathy. I mean, we didn't go up and say that because Chelsea wouldn't let me, but I definitely would have. And I would have said, I love those boots, girl.
So if you guys haven't listened to our episode last week with Kathy Johnson Clark, I would highly recommend it.
Yes, I do.
And it's not just because it's our podcast. Like, I actually really would recommend it.
Me too. Me too. But thank you. Another voicemail.
Yeah. Our machine isn't broken. I was actually seriously worried about that. But then we also got a comment. Katie answered our question that we asked last week about whether you think Kyla Ross or Maggie Nichols will be the first to break the 10-0 record.
Yeah, what did she say?
And she said, I think Maggie. She seems in better form than Kyla does at this point. Which is interesting, but I can see where you are getting that.
When she says better form, just endurance form? What do we
I
mean?
think all around, Maggie just looks like she's already in postseason form.
I see. I think Kyla looks that way to me too, though, right?
She does, but I don't think in every event. Like, her vault is still a little shaky, but we're also recording this before they compete, so watch her, like, get a 10 on vault this weekend.
Prove all of us wrong.
Right. But I still think Kyla could give Maggie a run for her money. What if they break it at the same time?
It would be perfect.
I know, that would be great.
If they broke it at the same time.
Yeah.
It really would be.
Yeah.
I think they would be happy for each other.
Hey guys, it's me, Kayla Williams, Meet Director for Elevate the Stage. I'm excited to share details with you about Elevate the Stage in 2020. This year we will be in Toledo, Ohio and Birmingham, Alabama. In Toledo, we will see a lot of you guys competing on the podium for a chance to qualify to the Nasty Aliukin Cup. After you're done competing, make sure you get your tickets to see all of the Big Ten teams compete on Friday, February 21st, and Saturday, February 22nd. In Birmingham, Alabama, we will be hosting a collegiate competition that we know and love, Alabama versus Auburn. We will also host almost 1,600 youth gymnasts from all over the country. To get tickets and for more information, visit elevatethestage.com. I can't wait to see you at Elevate the Stage in 2020.
So can we talk about Florida now?
Sure. We're still in Florida. It's, like we said, Saturday morning. You can see Chelsea already sounds a little more awake.
It was that voicemail that just came in. It woke me up.
The trip's been fine.
It was. I mean...
The traveling's been fine.
Knock on wood, because we still have to get home.
That's true.
Fine. It wasn't great because...
I think it was fine.
It could have been worse, but we pushed back from the gate on our plane.
We did.
We were just sitting there for probably 30 minutes.
I think it was longer than that.
Well, it was 30 minutes.
Before they said something.
Yeah, and then they pulled us back into the gate.
But before they pulled us back into the gate, can you just say what the pilot shared with us? Can you remember? Because I kind of had my headphones in and didn't want to hear. Because people don't know, but I really, really dislike flying.
Yeah.
So part of it for me is very anxiety driven anyway.
Yeah.
So whenever the pilot comes out of the door and looks at you and he has the little speaker phone thing in his hand.
And even you can hear it in their voices.
In his voice and his face.
Yeah.
I turned up the music on my, I can't deal with this.
Well, he basically said there was something wrong with a part in the engine. So they had to call maintenance, but he was like, it shouldn't be any longer than 30 minutes, whatever. But that's what they all say.
Exactly.
And I was just sitting there we have so many things already scheduled that and I remember looking this was the last plane to Orlando. Like, we can't like mess this up.
And I'm literally going, la 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 la, I don't know, hear anything.
And I was like, why does this always happen? Whenever, like, I have to travel somewhere and there's no deadline, like, everything is smooth. But when things are happening and I need to be there, there's always some sort of problem.
Right. And when they took the plane and went back to the gate.
Yeah, that's when you knew.
Yeah. It's like, this is going to be something. But again, I couldn't entertain it.
They were probably working on the plane for like 45 minutes.
Right.
And I was like just trying to go to sleep. Because I was like, maybe when I wake up, we'll be in Florida. I don't know.
But then he did say something. Because then I thought, Diana, you probably should kind of hear, now that you're back at the gate, you probably should kind of hear what he's saying.
So what did you hear?
I heard him say something about the part is not getting the air it needs.
Yeah, it wasn't like igniting or something.
Yes, it was pretty dramatic.
Yeah, something that sounded crucial for a big object to fly through the sky.
Exactly. And it was so much of that, and again, his kind of earnest look on his face while he's talking, that I put the headphones back on. I'm like, yeah, whatever he's saying.
We should probably also mention that Mom and I don't sit next to each other on the plane.
We don't.
So, like, I was, like, more towards the back and she's more towards the front. And so we weren't in contact at all with each other. And I knew not to, like, call her because, like, she's in her zone. So.
Yeah. And that goes back to me and flying, that I don't like to have conversations with people.
Not even her own daughter.
Not even
but
my own daughter.
We won't discuss that today.
No.
That's something we should probably discuss with Rebecca, the sports psychologist.
Probably. Just the psychologist piece. We'll just have her take off the sport part.
But anyways, so we were on like the plane for another like additional 45 minutes. And then he came back out. He still kind of had like this look of concern. And then he's like, all right, folks, so the maintenance checked it out, but they said that we don't really need the part, so we're just going to go without it. I was just like, oh.
And I didn't hear any of that. Just let the record reflect. I never heard that, thank goodness.
And like, I was at the point where I was like, I don't really care as long as we get there. I mean, if you don't think we need the part, I mean, he had to sign all these papers, so I guess it's okay.
Wow.
So we made it. We were like, what, an hour late?
Yeah.
But we made it.
We did, and stepped out and saw the beautiful Florida sunshine and the 70-degree temperature.
The humidity, like my skin just like, it's just
immediate moisture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, why do we live where we live?
I know.
Anyway. I did tweet. I forget who I tweeted because somebody asked how the travels were. Thank you for your concern.
One of our listeners wanted to know.
Yeah.
You know what the thing is? I'm hoping we're not creating anxiety for everybody when we say we're traveling. That everybody like clinches at that point.
Uh-oh. But I'd said like there was just like a minor plane delay, but we were all good. Marianne tweeted us and said, "Is it even a trip for you two with only a minor plane delay? But seriously, glad you made it. Can't wait to watch this meet and hear about your experience there." I would say our experience at the University of Florida was amazing.
Oh, can we say thank you to Mary?
Yeah, thank you, Mary, for just the hospitality and helping us get everything that we requested.
And Mary is the Senior Associate Athletic Director. And
if you remember at Nationals, she actually got us the hookup with Alyssa Boren, like the day of, we asked if we could
and
interview.
Alicia's parents.
Right. So
Mary always takes care of us.
Yeah, she does.
So thank you, Mary, and thank you for helping our trip to be exactly what we wanted it to be.
And then we also got a tweet from Sam is a Dancer, and she said, "Hey, Chelsea and Diana, if I don't hear you and see you on TV screaming for Trinity tonight, I'm going to be very disappointed."
Well, she definitely is not disappointed.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay,
Trinity
so should we
Thomas.
like just start
I think we should
from...
launch. I think we should just go deep now.
Okay.
Let's just go in.
I think you start with the storytelling. You're good at that.
I think we start with LSU looked boss. Florida looked boss.
Yeah, so even from warm-ups, it was very similar, I would say, to like how Oklahoma looked against UCLA in terms of warm-ups. Like LSU was very, not robotic, but they had a process that they were following from start to finish.
With Dee Dee watching carefully.
Yeah. And then Florida, yeah, they had a process, but they had some fun too.
Right. I think going in, we knew that these teams were obviously at a high level. I didn't expect it to be at this high level this early in the season.
Yeah. There's just so much talent on both of the teams.
So LSU started on bars, and right off the bat, Kaya Johnson, freshman, 9'9". Right off the bat.
Can we talk about Kaya, or is it too early to talk about Kaya?
Go for it. It's your podcast.
I think the whole time, from the very beginning, I just said Kaya doesn't look like a freshman.
No, I agree.
She's like so confident in herself, so self-aware, and she's just so good.
Yeah.
It was a good lead off on bars for LSU. And I actually thought that this was where we're going to see really the teams
start separating?
Yeah.
You thought that early?
I thought Florida was going to pull ahead.
On vault.
Yeah. And then it was going to be just LSU trying to catch up from there. But LSU had a really good bars rotation. Scores aside, I think obviously this was their best bar rotation of the year. And they honestly just didn't really look nervous. I think that's where coaches always tell you, be aggressive, don't be nervous, because when you get nervous, you hold back, and then that's when you get mistakes. But that bars team just went all out.
They felt like they were in the zone when they walked in the gym.
Yeah. I think they knew that they needed to be like a couple steps above what they've been performing. So they really took that seriously. I don't know what Dee or Jay or any of the coaches told them before the meet, but you could see that they were not playing around. But overall vault, Florida was killing it too.
Yeah, meanwhile, back at the ranch on vault.
So 5 out of the 6 vaults were Yurchenko 1.5s, which is amazing for them. I wonder if they have another 10-0 vault that they can put in later in the season, because again, like we said, I think a couple episodes ago, that Oklahoma, something that sets them apart is that they're going to have all 10-0 vaults in their lineup.
And I think you did a really good job on that episode helping me to understand how just that alone really changes the scoring. But I think I have to say the freshman, Peyton Richards.
Oh my gosh.
Highest vault score for Florida, 9.925.
Mm-hmm. And she just is like a breath of fresh air for the Florida team, I feel like. She just looks so happy and grateful to be out on the floor competing.
She does.
Like, it's just one big moment of awe for her.
She's just loving it.
Yeah. She has like bright eyes, and she's just like so happy, which is
she's
cool
jumping
to see.
all the time.
Yeah. But I have to give Florida some credit on vault, because usually their vault is just like, they have the vaults, it's the landings that they don't have. And for it to still be January and to perform vaults like that, I think is really good for them.
Yeah, agree. So we ended at that point on that first rotation for Florida vault, team score of 49.4. And for bars, LSU team total, 49.425.
Yeah. And again,
and that's when you kind of felt, right, that this was going to be a match.
Yeah, because I was not expecting it to be that close at all.
Right.
And I didn't expect LSU to be ahead of Florida.
No. And then you also know that the other team's going to the other apparatus at this point, and they're both good at that event, too.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about Ruby.
Ruby.
On bars.
Because we can talk about Ruby on vault,
too. Oh, my gosh. Ruby had a night.
She did. Yeah. You talk about in the zone.
Yeah. So she ended up getting her career high, a 9.975 on bars.
And it could have been a 10-0 bar routine.
She stuck that dismount cold.
You know, one judge gave her a 10, and you were waiting for that other score from the other judge, because it really could have been the first 10-0 bars routine of the night.
And at this point, too, with the scores that were going out for LSU on bars, and I knew the bar team that Florida was, I had a feeling that someone was going to get a 10 tonight. So like you said, they flip-flopped. Florida, I think, for me, my favorite event to watch of them.
I was going to say Beam for me.
They're a really good bars team, too, though.
They are, but Beam, based on our seats, right in front of Beam.
I think the highlight for me obviously it was Trinity getting the 10, but I think the real highlight for me was watching Savannah on bars.
Right?
She is my favorite bar worker in the NCAA, period.
She's amazing.
The amplitude she gets.
The form she has in the air.
It's really, really impeccable. And her dismount. It's just honestly jaw-dropping.
That one last little twist at the end. It's like right before she's like going to hit the floor. It's like, got it.
And you can see her spot the ground, which is really cool to see, especially in slow motion. So she knows exactly where she is.
Yeah.
And usually when gymnasts do that dismount, they don't have the amplitude to be able to turn so early and see where they're going. So it's kind of like a guessing game for them. But because she's so high and finishes her flip so early, she's able to twist right away and stick it like the majority of the time.
I think also her handstands. I know a handstand is a handstand.
No, it's true.
But her handstands, she's like, now watch me do this.
She's like straight as a board.
And she holds it.
Yeah.
Like, just in case you're questioning whether this is a handstand, let me just hold it so you can really see it, judges.
Yeah. I'm hoping that Jenny puts her in the anchor at some point this season just so that
it's a
she
10.
can... I know.
It's a
just
10.
so she can, like, really go for the 10.
Yeah. It's like just, it was a setup for Trinity.
It was. Trinity got her first 10.
Yeah.
And it was her last handstand where it was like, okay, if she sticks this dismount, it's a 10.
Yes.
And she held the handstand. Like, she was just showing off at that point.
Yes, she did.
It was so good. And, like, the crowd just went crazy.
Yeah, sellout crowd at Florida, which we didn't say, but sellout crowd, pom-pom, golden blue pom-poms going everywhere.
Yeah. I'm very happy that we were there to witness it and for it to be on home turf.
And we had the chance to be at the media conference after the meet and listen to Coach Rowland talk about what it felt like to be there at that moment in the O-Dome.
And looking back, the energy in the O'Connell Center was so awesome and really helped this team carry through 4 events tonight. But very thankful for Gator Nation for coming out and supporting this team, and you know, in hopes of watching just a phenomenal performance tonight. Looking forward to having them back again next time.
And meanwhile on vault, LSU was not giving up. That was, like, I think one of their best vault rotations. Although they've been doing really great on vault this whole year, but this was just, like, particularly impressive.
And again, Ruby.
I know. Ruby just, again, she was having a night.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when she lands it and she sticks it like that because she looks like the most surprised.
She does.
Kennedy had a great vault. Ruby had a great vault. And even Kai Rivers, the leadoff, she flares it, she arches it. It's a great leadoff.
Can I mention that it looks like Sarah Finnegan when she was doing the leadoff?
I actually would disagree. I understand where you think they look similar, but I think they actually look very different. They're both pretty, but just in different ways.
We both have the flare at the end.
They do.
All right, so there's something
I think
there.
that's just like a sign that you mastered that vault. When
Right.
you're able to flare it like that,
Right.
that means you can do it with your eyes closed.
Yeah. And then I think the interesting point at that, then, at the end of the second rotation, the score again was incredibly tight. LSU at that point had a 99.0. Florida had a 99.05.
And this is when I started to get nervous. I knew these two events are a hit and a miss for LSU.
So that's when you started getting nervous for LSU, not for Florida.
No,
At that
because I
point-
knew they were just going to keep going. They don't have a weak event.
Yeah.
But LSU,
It can go, like you said, it can be hit or miss on either of those events,
Yeah.
especially floor, I think.
And like everything was just like so high at that point
Right.
that like something's got to give, you know?
Right. And unfortunately it did.
Yeah. Even just like from the start, they started with Ruby and it was a good routine, but it wasn't like show stopping.
It wasn't like what she did on Bars and Vault.
Yeah. And it just they never really like got the momentum that they needed. And then unfortunately Sarah Edwards ended up getting hurt. And then that was just like another wrench thrown at them.
When that incident happened, it was fairly traumatic, I think, for folks in the O-Dome, because she continued her routine, but clearly she was in pain.
Yeah.
So hopefully she's going to recover quickly. And meanwhile,
On beam from
Alyssa
Florida.
Baumann is waiting.
Well, we have to talk about the other gymnasts in the
before
lineup
that.
first, because they started out on a high.
They did.
And they had some people in the lineup that are kind of new to the lineup. Sydney Johnson-Sharp, that was her first time in the beam lineup.
She was really good. Because I even asked you, because I hadn't seen Sydney before, and I'm like, who is this?
And she got a 9.925.
Yeah.
Her first time in. Yeah. Also, Peyton Richards, she is a great addition to the beam lineup. She has a difficult routine. And she doesn't look like a freshman either, honestly.
No, she didn't look like a freshman all night. And she competed all around.
Yeah. As the medical team was looking at Sarah, Alyssa Baumann was just standing by the beam.
Yeah, and she was stretching a little bit, but she was totally zoned in.
Yeah.
But I think this might be a good time also to add what Jenny was saying about Alyssa right before she goes up.
I was thinking, first of all, I'm very hopeful that Sarah will be okay and be able to return soon. On our team, I was thinking that I'm glad that it was Alyssa that had to wait, because I knew she would be able to handle anything. So
last year I went last on beam, so I was just thinking taking myself back to that and how I would have to wait longer anyways before, and I knew I could do it then and I can do it now. Just trying to stay in your zone, focus on my teammates, focus on Jenny behind the beam, and just going through my beam routine at that moment, hoping that she was okay.
So I have to ask you, last week you said you were most excited to watch Rachel Gowie on beam. Did it live up to your expectations?
Absolutely. Her triple series. And it's not just her on beam, too. Rachel on bars, Rachel on floor.
I think watching her in person is different than watching her on TV as well. She looks like she owns her skills more in person.
Yeah, she just looks more confident. She owns the skill. And that doesn't come across when you're watching it on television.
Even in her dance. She's just a lot more sassy, I guess you could say, in person.
Agreed. And maybe she was just more sassy last night. I don't know.
But she was really great to watch.
Yeah, and her beam score was a 9.975.
Yeah. And so was Alyssa's.
And they both could have been 10s.
Yeah. The Florida beam lineup. And you know how people always say, beam will either make you or break you?
Yeah.
Beam is going to make Florida.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what I really felt as I was watching them on beam? And again, we had these amazing seats sitting right in front of beam.
Yeah, can we say thank you to Erin? She's the photographer for the Florida Gators. Thank you for the amazing seats.
Worth every second.
Yeah,
So thank you.
thank you.
You know, in one of our previous episodes when we were talking about the rankings of the national championship and what order folks would place, we felt that Florida could really be competitive against Oklahoma. I think last night, watching them on beam, totally believe that to be the case.
I think so too. And again, scores aside, because scores is just a whole nother thing. When just looking at the routines and looking at the skills that the gymnasts are performing, it is aligned with Oklahoma.
It's the confidence that they're performing the skills.
Yeah, I would say that.
That they just know they've got it.
Which is an interesting dynamic to me because, like we said in the beginning of the episode, Florida was just having fun, just relaxed. And you wouldn't think that they would be as in the zone and serious about the competition that they were.
Yeah.
UCLA, when we talked about them last year, is they're dancing and they're competing and I'm about to go on the beam, but I'm still dancing. So they had that relaxation even throughout the competition.
That's who they've been.
Right. But Florida had a little bit of Oklahoma's process and
intensity.
robotics. Yeah. But also they were able to play when they knew it was playtime.
Yeah, and it's these gymnasts know that they can do the skills. Mm-hmm. Rachel knows that she can do the triple series on beam. It's not a question whether she's going to make it or not. It feels that way. Mm-hmm. And I think when you compare it to the LSU team, it's more hopeful that it's going to go well versus confident that I know this is going to go well.
Yeah.
It's different.
Which is why I think Florida's lineup is so good because they have so many people that they could put in.
They've got the depth.
Yeah. So at this point in the competition,
yeah,
Florida just pulled ahead.
But on floor, even though you had some really high scores from Kennedy and Kaya, at that point, Florida was still knocking the doors down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But can I say?
Yes, you can say. It's time to say it.
My favorite floor routine of the night, which was even surprising to me because I wasn't expecting it, was Kaya Johnson.
More than Naya, because you love some Naya on floor.
I do. Kaya just, the way she performs and the confidence that she has.
I think she's the gymnast to watch. She's the freshman to watch this year.
I think so too. I think she could be freshman of the year.
I do too.
In the SEC.
I do too.
She's just, she knows she's got it. And it's not in an arrogant way at all.
She does not look like a freshman could be.
It's like, it's the type of attitude you need to be successful.
Yeah, she's fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching her in person.
The talent.
Just right there.
Yeah.
Just right there.
Yeah.
And then we gotta talk about Trinity and Beam.
Yeah. Well, like, we knew that Trinity could get a 10 on any of the events that she was competing, honestly. And her beam routine, like, it was 10-0. It was 10-0.
And she was on this high after the 10 on bars.
Yeah, so I didn't know how it was going to go, but she, like, relaxed. She settled into her landings, except for the dismount.
Yeah, she had it.
Yeah.
But I think also we have to share that watching Trinity as a sophomore is completely different than the freshman Trinity.
Yeah, we talked about this last night. Now she can enjoy gymnastics. Last year, it seemed like she was just very stressed. She had a lot of pressure on herself.
Like you said, it's a freshman.
Yeah, like you just don't know what's going on freshman year.
Right.
Like
you're just like a zombie walking around.
You're just doing what people tell you to do. But now, like, she gets college gymnastics. She's just doing it for herself, and she's having fun doing it.
We were fortunate enough to be able to listen to Trinity and talk to her at the news conference.
This crowd really brought it tonight. When they said my name before I went up for an event, like, it was like the O-Dome was shaking. It was so cool. And that got me really excited, really pumped up. And I think we thrive in this kind of environment. And I think we thrived tonight, and we did an amazing job. And I can't wait for next weekend. And I kept saying it, too. I was like, this is going to be a sellout. This is going to be huge. It's going to be so much fun. And it was.
So at this point, I think everybody in the O-Dome knows, including LSU, that we're on the final event, and the chances of LSU catching up to Florida is going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah. But I just got to say, the environment in the O-Dome, yes, this was a rivalry competition, but the sportsmanship
oh my gosh,
that
it
the
was
fans had.
So positive.
Yeah, and even the gymnasts, because after Sarah got hurt, there were no cheers. Like, everyone was actually concerned for her.
It was very quiet.
Yeah, because I think the fans knew that this was a good competition, and we just wanted to see good gymnastics.
And I think it was also, we all saw how she was still trying to continue.
Yeah.
And so it just puts you in a different place at that point, to just see the heart in this individual.
Yeah.
But totally agree. You know, it was just such Southern hospitality here in Florida. And you saw that with the thousands of fans just watching gymnastics.
So again, fourth rotation, Florida's going to floor, which again, I was excited for, to watch Florida's choreography in person. Hearing that music in person, where you're able to hear the different beats and tones and drums and everything, is a lot different than watching it on TV.
Right, right.
And Florida didn't disappoint.
They didn't. It was so fun to watch. My favorite routine to watch, well, actually, I don't know if it's the full routine, but just the walking out on the floor was watching Naya.
Well, she was my favorite Florida floor routine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think my favorite Florida routine was Amelia.
She's a good anchor.
Exactly. For me, it was like the culmination of the evening.
Yeah.
That she's the last of the last. Mm-hmm. The team has won. Mm-hmm. She's a senior.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's just
have fun.
Let's just celebrate.
Let's rock out.
Yeah. Like, she does this routine for the crowd.
Yeah.
It's like you all are all on the floor with me doing this.
Yeah. It was really good. And then even on beam for LSU, they still had a chance to get a good score, even if they lost. Like, this is a good road score for them when it comes time for RQS.
Well, yeah, I think we have to talk about that. This was the highest scoring meet for both teams. Florida won 198.375. It's the highest score of any team so far this season.
And I think they said that this was the third highest team score for Florida in program history.
Right. Additionally, LSU had a 197.775. The crowd of 9,332 was the third highest for gymnastics since the arena was remodeled.
Wow.
Trinity was the all-around winner with a score of 39.775. Her worst score of the night was 9.9.
Worst, we'll say that in air quotes.
Right, small W.
But we also failed to mention that Kaya got a 10 on beam.
That's right.
How did you forget, Mom? We saw it up close.
We did, and again, everybody kind of knew what the final score was going to be, and Kaya goes up on beam, and she gets in the zone, and the team is just at this point just kind of doing it for LSU.
And it was awesome to see her get in the zone in person, because she's like a competitor. Like, you can just see it in her face that she is going to go all out no matter what.
Yeah.
So I just can't wait to see where her career goes from here, because she's only going to get better.
Yeah, because even when she got the 10, it was just kind of, for her, it felt, she didn't like look overwhelmed or overly excited.
I think because she didn't think it was a 10 herself.
Oh, really?
Because even I saw like a little bobble.
You did? Well, that's because you were like so way close up on me. I didn't see anything.
Neither did the judges. So.
No, exactly. And so that was just a great way for LSU to kind of finish the evening.
I agree. I don't think LSU should be upset by any means with that meet.
I don't think they are. I think obviously there's concern about Sarah and her ability to recover.
Yeah.
But I think the way that team competed,
compared to just last week.
And this is away. This isn't in the PMAC.
Right. They really rose to the occasion. Because especially with all of these new faces, you don't know how they're going to do away from home with all of these people. So loud, you just don't know how it's going to turn out, and they really rose to the occasion.
It was a really good meet to be at.
Yeah, and Florida, guys.
Watch out, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And they would never compete until Nationals, is that right?
Yeah, they're not on the schedule until Nationals together.
So that's just even more suspense for everybody.
I know.
But I do think losing at regionals.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Last year, and somebody said this last year, you don't know what this is going to mean to that team and do to that team. And I think we are seeing it on display right now.
You know, and Jenny really talked about this in the media conference, the depth of the team, the talent of the team, and how she's excited to watch where they can go.
This preseason, the level and training, the intensity, the focus, just everything has been elevated. And I say you're only as strong as your weakest link, and this team's weakest link has strengthened tremendously, which has made our team even stronger. So I'm just incredibly proud of them. The grit, the fight, the heart that was left out on the competition floor tonight was just amazing. And to compete at this level with LSU, it was a cat fight / gator fight, and really it was nonstop, and nobody was letting down, and just really proud of this team to persevere and come through, and everything just come together so far this season.
So what a night, Chelsea.
I know.
And you know what?
I feel like I'm hungover.
It's true, but you know what made it also a special night?
Oh, here we go. Mom, let's not get emotional.
I'm not getting highly emotional.
Okay.
But I will say that on either side of me, sitting at this meet, I had my daughter on the left.
Yes.
And I had my sister on the right.
Yes.
And to be able to be at an event like this with the two people that I love,
yes,
made this night even more perfect.
It was. What do you think our aunt thought, or my aunt, your sister, thought of her first collegiate meet?
I think she's going to want to come with us to more meets.
That's fine with me.
Well, again, I think for her too, she used to do gymnastics.
So she gets it.
She was very good at it. Not you're good, but definitely better than me. And so I think she gets it at a different level too.
Yeah.
And to see it where we were setting,
Yeah.
for her, I think, just see that incredible athletic talent, mental determination up front like that.
But even gymnastics aside, I think people don't understand the environment, especially in the SEC, that the fans have. So I think that was just an experience in itself.
Agreed. And you're having to focus on the 4-inch beam while that's all happening around you with the music and everything.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great night.
Mm-hmm.
But before we say goodbye, we have to mention College Gym News. Remember that College Gym News is your one-stop shop for all things college gymnastics. For event coverage, leotard rankings, in-depth features, fantasy gymnastics resources, and more, visit collegegymnews.com.
And if you're interested in supporting CGN's expanding coverage, visit collegegymnews.com/donate.
College Gym News, all the college gymnastics news you want, all in one place.
So where are we going now, Mom?
I think we might be going to Toledo.
Wow, guys, I've been trying to get Mom to commit to Toledo for it's one of those things that you just gotta bring up
you
every
have been
now
doing
and
it
then.
too. A little gently. So Toledo is in February.
It's next month.
So
it's only an hour flight.
Well, and watching this meet helped me get more excited about.
I want to watch Taylor Houchin in person.
Yeah, so tell
not to be selfish or
So
anything.
tell everybody again. I know we talked about it early in the show, but tell everybody again what's happening in Toledo and who's going to be there.
So Elevate the Stage this year is in 2 locations. It's in Toledo, Ohio, February 21st through 23rd, and in Birmingham in March. The one in Toledo, all of the Big Ten teams will be there, which is hard for us. I mean, not really, because Maryland's a Big Ten team, but a lot of the Big Ten teams are in the Midwest, so we don't see them as often.
Right.
So I think watching them in person and even maybe getting a couple of interviews from them would be cool. But again, we don't know. We don't know with our schedules and
I was going to
everything.
say, what's the date again?
February 21st through the 23rd.
Okay, so I'll look at my schedule. Assuming that I'm available, we're headed to Toledo.
But I want to know how many of you guys are going to be in Toledo. Let us know.
Yeah.
You can tweet us. Our Twitter is @RoutinePodcast. You can email us at info@theroutinepodcast.com, or you can leave us a voicemail on our website. The machine is not broken. Happy to report. And our website is theroutinepodcast.com.
And you do that by going to that website, going to the episode that you're most interested in leaving a voicemail about. You'll see 4 buttons at the top. One of those says voicemail. You click that button, you'll see a microphone. You click the microphone and you leave us a voicemail.
And let us know what you guys thought about the LSU Florida meet. I haven't really been on Twitter, so I don't know what the streets are talking about, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about the meet, especially since we were there in person. It's a different experience than watching it on TV.
Agreed. I can say I had a ball.
I did too. And we'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.